second question on behalf of the forum to Uncle Susanta is, Uncle, why is it necessary to make the gospel appropriate, applicable, and attractive?
One of the wrong belief and connotation we have that if we give a tract, our evangelism is done. The other connotation we have that once we talk about Jesus or give a literature to someone, it is his or her responsibility to respond. That kind of mentality tells me that we are more judgmental. I have told you about Jesus, you did not respond, so you go to hell. But the third thing is we completely forget the fact that Jesus is real, but we have to present the real Jesus in the most presentable way. If my people, all those whom I give the gospel, if I am unable to package the gospel according to their needs, then my presentation of the gospel is a failure. Now, why I do it? There are two things that I want to really put little emphasis on. Every human being, we talk about color blindness. People do not have color blindness. They are very colorful. They can identify color. So in professional talk, it is said, the first 2 minutes, what you say, if that makes any sense, that then your audience will listen to you because their mind is very colorful. Number two is the people whom you are sharing the gospel, they are influenced by many other things. So that means they will not simply come to you and tell you, I'm a sinner, can you save me? No, because their inner needs are influenced. So the person whom I am sharing the gospel has colors in the mind, like color has many thoughts that is going down in the mind, and the person also is influenced by many other things. So therefore, I feel that there are five things that we need to remember of this influence. First is called the social aspect. The second one is called the religious aspect. The third one is called, what is my future? That's why we call a ministry called destiny. What is the destiny of my life? The fourth one is every individual, they may not openly tell you, but there is a guilt aspect. Why did I do this? I shouldn't have done it. What would be the consequence to all what I have done in secret? Why this? Why? There is a guilt aspect. And finally, whether you like it or not, young people, especially Gen X from elite and affluent background, they suppress, they influence their spiritual hunger. There is a hunger that is there, sitting within them. And the other things influence their hunger. Now, what is the social aspect? The social aspect is, now, if I think about it, what will my society think? My family think? My father will think? What is the religious aspect? The religious aspect is the aspect of tradition. my forefathers, from the beginning till now, my forefathers have followed this tradition. Now Durga Puja. You ask the young people, they will all say, my forefathers have followed this tradition. Who am I to change? And then some will say, look, some will give themselves to this man-made philosophy. Remember, faith and believing are two different things. So in the religious aspect, the young people like to believe something that is that's not unique, that's something philosophical. And then young people, Gen X, love to think logically. I have heard people who tell me, how logical it is for Jesus to forgive my sins or die for my sins, take the punishment of sins. Is it logical? And I like that kind of question, because that says that there is a religious hunger that is there. And above all, where do I go from here? What is my destiny? Is it all what I am for? Who am I? What am I for? What is the uniqueness of my being? And where am I going? What is my future destiny? These are some of the religious aspects. But one of the interesting things I have seen in sharing the gospel is this whole guilt aspect. Guilt aspect. And this aspect simply gives me the freedom to go right into him and release him or her from the nostalgia of, and bring him or her to freedom. How, the question they ask, how long am I going to be under this bondage of my guilt, things that I have done wrong? Are there any freedom available? If you look at this picture, just look at her. She's a very educated lady. And on the street, she's bowing down to an idol. Now, if you look at her face for, let's say, 2 minutes, I have done that one many times. What do you see? I don't know what you see, but I see a spiritual hunger. She is thinking, because of that hunger, when you are hungry, what do? You look for food. And in fact, if you're really starving, what happens? The food you never liked in your childhood, you eat also, because you have to fill your stomach. So there is a spiritual hunger aspect. And, all what it tells me to think differently. Think differently about individuals and their spiritual hunger, their guilt, their future aspect. What will happen to me? Usually young people say, now suppose if I become a follower of Christ and I'm kicked out of my house, what will happen to me? So there is a fear of future. But I have to be religious because this is the demand. This is my family demands. Okay? Think differently about the person that you are witnessing. Now, what does it mean to make the gospel appropriate, applicable? Appropriate means making appropriate in the social aspect of that person. in the religious aspect of this person, in the future consciousness of that person, the guilt that he carries, and the spiritual hunger that he or she has. Gospel has to be appropriated in all this aspect. I very quickly said it's a very important topic, but I very quickly said, it is only the gospel that can release someone from the guilt factor, the bondage of guilt, and bring that person to freedom. It is the gospel that can meet the spiritual hunger of a person. So therefore, going traditionally, it is said that doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result doesn't happen. We have to think differently.